Yo guys, welcome back to another video. So I think this will be a valuable one, especially if you are a guy in your 20s like myself who's trying to increase their testosterone or maybe just know a little bit more about it. I'm no expert by any means, but I've gotten it tested 3 times in the past 12 months and it's increased, it's decreased within those 3 times, and I'm going to talk about that now. So first of all, a GP will tell you that the normal range is within, 250 nanograms per deciliter to 800-ish. But realistically, guys, if you're in your 20s and you're male, you want it to be at least 400, and that's talking bare minimum. But ideally 6, 7, 800. And really, you should be trying to optimize it to those 900, 1000 levels. Those are kind of tougher to get to, but if you're in and around 6 to 800, I think that's a really good level to be at. So my first test was in August 2024, so not even a full year ago, actually. And I was just curious, and I was after a full summer of traveling, but also the last month was really healthy. So I thought I was in a good position to get my levels tested because, in Thailand, Vietnam, there was a lot of drinking going on. But the last month or two, I was in France, getting loads of sun, having a good routine, good lifestyle, and taking care of myself, lifting weights. And that was the first time I ever got my testosterone checked. So it was the end of August, as far as I remember. And my result was 553 nanograms per deciliter. So that is, I suppose you could say, on the slightly higher end of the normal range. But at the end of the day, I wasn't best pleased with it. And I knew I wanted to bring it up. And again, guys, like most people will actually be below that, if anything. But I still expected mine to be higher because I am so healthy and I do lift weights so often. I think maybe the only thing that was pulling me back is I kind of struggle with my sleep. But yeah, I was okay with it. 553, it's okay, not too bad at all. But in my mind, I knew I wanted it to be higher. So fast forward a few months, this is where things take a bit of a turn, and I was even more surprised here, but there are reasons for it. So I got my testosterone levels checked again. It was either the end of December or in January. I'm not 100% sure, but it might have been January. And what I think happened was, and I'll be brutally honest here, okay? So, yeah, I'll be brutally honest. But I'll tell you the most obvious ones first. My sleep actually got worse during that time. I don't know what was going on. During the winter, I was really struggling with sleep. So that's a massive factor, okay? But also I was injured, so I wasn't able to train for 5 or 6 weeks before I got that test. And I was actually taking ashwagandha at the time, thinking it might help, but it didn't. I'll let you know the result in a minute. So those couple of things definitely didn't help. And I was also just after a weekend in Liverpool where I was really sleep deprived. I went to Anfield to see a game and I was also sick. So realistically, I shouldn't have gotten my levels tested at this point, but I decided to do so. So yeah, it was January. I just double checked, and that's a few months after, obviously August. I was thinking maybe they increased, but likely decreased because of the things that I've mentioned. And also, when I said I was going to be brutally honest, I think a factor was semen retention wasn't as good as it was before, okay? So I think that didn't help either, okay? Too much information, I don't know, but I have to say that. And my levels were 380 nanograms per deciliter. So think about that for a second, right? That's gone down from 553 to 380. That's a massive difference. So yeah, as you can imagine, I was pretty disheartened by that result, but because of the things I've mentioned, I wasn't too surprised either. But clearly the ashwagandha didn't really help either. But I think another massive factor is during the summer, I was getting loads of sun, natural vitamin D from sunlight, whereas obviously in Ireland during the winter, it's near impossible. Well, yeah, it is impossible unless you're fucking supplemented with vitamin D, which I was, but at the end of the day, it's not as effective as obviously the natural source from the sun. So I think that was another big part of it. So after seeing that result at the age of 24, I turned 25 in March, but I was like, okay, I gotta lock in now. And my injury was kind of getting better. I was able to start training weights again. So I was thinking, okay, this is it now. I need to actually make the proper effort. And as it came into summer, more sun, more vitamin D, I did improve my lifestyle a bit. My sleep got better. I got the melatonin again because I was off it during the winter as well, which again didn't help. I use melatonin for my sleep. It's kind of a natural remedy. It's not unhealthy. That helps me a lot with my sleep. So A lot of things I kind of cleaned up, but I think diet is massively important as well, which is something I haven't even mentioned in this video yet. Diet is so fucking key, but also sleep, strength training as well. So those three things I think are massive. And not consuming too much alcohol, semen retention is a factor, it genuinely is. And so I got it tested again a few months later. To be approximate about it, I got it, I think, the very end of May. I just came back from Bali at the end of May. And I was expecting a good result here because my lifestyle in Bali, for the most part, was pretty good. Lots of sun again. And as I said, since January, I kind of cleaned up my act a little bit with a few things that I think could be improved. And also little things like waking up more effectively. I think I got into a bit of a rut during the winter, where I would wake up and go on my phone straight away. And although that might not sound like a major thing, which it isn't, it's much better for your circadian rhythm and your cortisol levels to not do that and wait for screen time at least 30 minutes to an hour after you wake up, go outside, get some daylight, and just wake up normally. So I got them retested, as I said, end of May, and they came back in at 500, still not quite at the 550 that I was at back in August, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not bummed out too much because I did do a little bit of drinking in Bali, as you probably expect when you're at a place like that. So I think that had a factor. But compared to 380 in January, I was quite pleased because that is a high percentage of an increase there. And obviously I expected it to be higher than 380 because 380, I never want to be back there again, to be honest. My energy definitely, I think maybe it was a placebo thing, but when I got that result, I think my energy was probably not the best during it, but I was putting it in denial. But obviously testosterone improves everything and your energy is a massive part of it. So I do feel like my energy is way better now from the small changes that I've made. Diet is a massive one again, as I said. And I'm back up at 500. I'm okay with that. I'm going to keep focusing on the things that I need to focus on this summer. And I'm not doing much drinking this summer. I'm not going out much. I'm going to France for a few weeks there soon. See my family. That'll be another month of just complete routine and doing the right thing. So I'm going to do it again in August, and that'll be a full 12 months. And I'm hoping I'll be into the 600 bracket. That's my hope. Obviously, that's not a guarantee, but I really, really want to get to that. And obviously from there, it will be just a case of trying to improve it every few months. And I'll probably get tested 3 times a year, 2 or 3 times per year, because I think testosterone, guys, again, if you're a guy watching this, it's just so important. And I've realized this over the last 2 years in particular, but mainly the last year since being an online coach and I've been doing my own learning and stuff. Testosterone's massive. So yeah, by the way, if you could like and subscribe, it would help my channel out a lot. I appreciate it. And I'm going to do another video about this in a few months when I have it tested again, hopefully higher than the initial 550. But takeaways from this, right? Lifestyle is really important when it comes to improving your testosterone. Vitamin D, if you can't get it from the sun, supplement it and get it with K2, vitamin K2, so it absorbs better. Okay, oral spray. Number 2, sleep. I mean, sleep is probably the main one, to be honest, guys. And ideally, you should be getting to sleep before midnight. I'm not always able to do that myself, but I'm just saying, I've heard many studies of the hours from 11 to 3 a.m. being the most powerful, where you get your REM sleep, your deep sleep. So if you can get to sleep before 12, that's great. So that's number 2. These aren't in order, by the way, but number 3, strength training. If you didn't know this already, it's going to massively improve your testosterone if you're able to do it efficiently and correctly. And if you're serious about improving your physique, you need a program, a plan, a structure that will help you get there and optimize what you're actually doing with time efficiency, rather than just having zero kind of idea what you're doing when you go into the gym and perhaps spending too long and more time than you need to. So focus more on strength training and have a structure that works for you and progressively overload each week. Hit me up on Instagram if you want help with that. So that's number 3. Number 4, how you wake up. Massive. As I said, it affects your cortisol levels and your circadian rhythm if you're just going on your phone straight away or staying in bed for, more than you need to in the morning. Get up as quick as you can. And if you can get some cold exposure in the shower as well as a normal hot shower, that's also really helpful to wake you up. But try and avoid screens for the first hour, ideally the first 30 minutes at least. And number 5, something I haven't mentioned yet, and there's more than 5 things that's going to help your testosterone. Of course there is. but I'm going to put two in this. Cardio, which is the one I haven't said yet, but also diet. So whole foods as much as you can. I usually go for about 80% if I can, because that's a realistic target. Ideally 85 to 90, but I just think that's unrealistic for a lot of people. Minimum 80 healthy whole foods, high quality foods is going to be more than enough. But yeah, cardio has been shown to improve testosterone, not like running crazy lengths of distances on a weekly basis, just a regular, nice amount of cardio that will keep you tipping over and genuinely help your testosterone long term. But strength training should be the priority. I hope this somewhat helped some of you guys. And if you are struggling with low testosterone, don't worry, it is very, very fixable. And as I said, I'm going to do another video on my own journey with it in a few months. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.